Picture this. You're a future Hall of Famer, 19 years in the league, and at 3 in the morning in some Atlanta hotel room, you're getting told to pack your bags and go home. Not traded. Not benched. Just sent home. That's exactly what happened to Chris Paul, and what James Harden accidentally exposed might be the craziest locker room implosion we've seen in years. Oh, here's where it all went sideways. The Clippers brought CP3 back thinking he'd be this perfect mentor figure, right? The veteran presence to guide an aging roster featuring Harden, Kawhi, and a bunch of other guys who've been around the block. They literally described him as an extension of the coaching staff. Sounds great on paper. Reality? Total disaster. Things started falling apart during an October practice. Chris Paul suggests a play to James Harden. Normal stuff. Harden, probably just trying to help, takes the idea to head coach Ty Lue. And this is where the hot mic catches everything. Lue's response? This is what we're doing. CP ain't no name on it. Brutal, but it gets worse. Harden then echoes it back, basically saying, yeah, CP doesn't have his name on these plays. Think about that for a second. You're Chris Paul. Your whole identity is being a floor general, a basketball genius. And now your coach is publicly dismissing your input, and another superstar is co-signing it. That had to sting. But let's back up because this wasn't just about one practice. The Clippers came into this season with championship dreams and immediately started drowning. They stumbled to a 5-16 record. Bradley Beal needed surgery before the season really started. Kawhi was dealing with ankle issues, playing only 11 of the first 22 games. Harden, at 37 years old, is out here carrying an impossible load every single night. And Chris Paul? He's watching all this unfold while averaging 3.9 points in 14 minutes per game. His on-court role got minimized, fine. But his off-court voice? That's where the real problems started brewing. Here's the thing about CP3 that everyone knows but not everyone can handle. The guy is intense. Charles Barkley called him the best leader of this generation for a reason. Paul studies film obsessively, takes notes, holds people accountable, and doesn't care about hurting feelings if it means winning games. Devin Booker said it best, Chris isn't for everybody. The Clippers were about to learn that lesson the hard way. The first real blow-up happened during a game against Dallas. Paul told Kawhi to switch off guarding Klay Thompson because Kawhi was clearly struggling with his minutes restriction. To Paul, that's just smart basketball. Making adjustments in real time. To the coaching staff? That's a player overstepping, acting like he runs the show. After the game, assistant coach Jeff Van Gundy confronted Paul on the team plane. The conversation got heated, and Van Gundy straight up told him, "You might have had leeway in other places, but you don't have that leeway here." Drawing a line in the sand. Paul's response? He posted the dictionary definition of leeway on Instagram. Subtle? Not even close. He was basically saying after 19 years, he's earned the right to have input. According to Kendrick Perkins, who spoke with people inside that locker room, Paul was doing stuff behind Ty Lue's back. Going to players during timeouts, whispering different strategies, contradicting what the coaches just said. Running a parallel coaching operation. One story that leaked involved Paul literally telling players to ignore what assistant coaches had instructed them to do. That's when you cross from helpful veteran to active problem. For weeks, Paul and Lue reportedly weren't speaking. Only necessary on-court communication. Paul requested multiple meetings to clear the air. Those requests went unanswered. The entire team could feel the tension building, like watching a slow-motion car crash. During a late November film session, everything finally exploded. The staff and players were fed up with what they called Paul's locker room lawyering. His constant critiques of management, coaches, and players. His blunt, unfiltered style that some saw as accountability and others saw as just being exhausting. For a team already at 5-16, dealing with injuries and questions about whether they could even make the playoffs, Paul's voice became the breaking point. December 3, 2025. The Clippers are in Atlanta for a road game. Team president Lawrence Frank flies in specifically to meet with Chris Paul. The meeting gets delayed because of plane issues, pushing it back later and later into the night. Finally, at 3 in the morning, Frank delivers the news. Paul is being waived. Effective immediately. Pack your stuff, you're going home. Paul posted on Instagram shortly after, "Just found out I'm being sent home. Peace." That's it. A 19-year veteran, future Hall of Famer, sent packing in the middle of the night like he'd committed some unforgivable crime. Frank tried to spin it, telling ESPN, this decision had nothing to do with one isolated incident. It just wasn't the right fit. He insisted they weren't scapegoating Paul for the terrible record, that organizational failures went from the top down. But if they weren't blaming him for the losses, then what exactly went so wrong that they had to send him home at 3 a.m. during a road trip? The answer seems to be that Paul's leadership style, his whole approach to accountability, clashed dramatically with what the Clippers organization wanted. His direct, confrontational method of calling out everyone from management to stars created what they saw as toxicity. But here's the question nobody wants to answer. Was Paul creating negativity, or was he just exposing problems that already existed? When Ty Lue addressed the media after, he denied the silent treatment claims. That ain't true. We were talking. He played. How's he gonna play if I'm not talking to him? But then he admitted there was a rough stretch when Paul was out of the rotation, and yeah, it was tough for both of them. Lue also said something really telling. Removing Paul wouldn't magically fix their problems because Paul wasn't the root cause. The issues were injuries, roster construction, coaching adjustments that weren't working, stars not performing. Paul's crime was pointing it all out too loudly. James Harden's reaction? I'm just as confused and shocked as you guys. It's a lot that we were dealing with. That phrase, a lot we were dealing with, hints at way more dysfunction than just the CP3 situation. Kawhi called it shocking. Lue admitted the locker room wasn't happy about losing Paul. So if the players wanted him around and management wasn't blaming him for losses, why waive him? Blake Griffin, Paul's former teammate, didn't hold back. He called out the organization for terrible communication, saying there was no direct conversation from Ty Lue or owner Steve Ballmer. For a veteran with deep Clippers ties, this felt disrespectful regardless of how things had soured. Griffin praised Paul for teaching professionalism, qualities that should have earned better treatment. Meanwhile, Kendrick Perkins backed the Clippers' decision, saying championship teams can't have players undermining coaches, even legends. According to his sources, Paul got multiple warnings but kept crossing lines. And that's where we're left. The Clippers are still struggling after Paul's gone. The same problems exist. The roster construction was flawed from the start. They traded away solid players, relied too heavily on injury-prone veterans, brought in guys who couldn't stay healthy. Paul might have been pointing out the uncomfortable truth that nobody wanted to hear. This team wasn't built right from the beginning. For Chris Paul, retirement rumors are swirling. This might be how a Hall of Fame career ends, sent home at 3 a.m. because he demanded too much from an organization that preferred comfortable mediocrity over hard truths. James Harden's role in all this, that hot mic moment, accidentally revealed the fracture. It showed a team where speaking up gets you exiled and staying quiet keeps you safe. The real lesson? Sometimes organizations would rather send the truth teller packing than look in the mirror. And that's exactly why the Clippers are where they are right now.